Welcome to the For the Church podcast, another great gospel-centered resource from Midwestern Baptist Theological Seminary. My name is Jared Wilson. I'm an assistant professor of pastoral ministry and author in residence at Midwestern Seminary. And I'm here as always with my friend and my colleague and my co-host, Dr. Ronnie Kurtz, assistant professor of systematic theology.
That's right, man.
Seen any good movies lately?
This year has been kind of a disappointment for me.
Okay, all right. What's the best movie you've seen this year? Or one of your favorites?
Honestly, I don't even know.
Have you seen Train Dreams yet?
No, I haven't, but man, I want to.
Brother, so I saw Train Dreams over Thanksgiving. It just shot to the top of my favorites of the year.
Okay, that's what I'm going to see next then.
And it's very much like, or it's like in the same spirit kind of the director that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
Or the movie we're going to talk about today. It has that kind of, like sort of language shots over landscapes and Train Dreams is about this logger. This is early 1900s. No, it's actually a little later. It's sort of probably 1930s, 40s, and he in Pacific Northwest. He's played by Joel Edgerton, and he's a logger. And he's kind of a melancholy, lonely guy, and he experiences some really horrific things while he's out with these logging crews. He gets married. He meets a wife in church, and they have a baby. And he has to leave them at home every time he has to go out on these sort of the logging crew expeditions. And it's really about grief. I want to say it's about trauma, but like everything's about trauma. Marvel movies are about trauma now. Everything's about trauma. Yeah. But and it is, but not like those things. Yes. I was really kind of like, do I really want to see one more movie that's about how somebody can't get over something? Yeah. But the movie is so well made and so beautiful. Really? It's just about how a guy keeps going. I think that's kind of what it's about. It's like time marching on. There's a whole deal about the passage of time. One of the last shots is like him watching on a TV that's in a store window. He doesn't own a TV himself because he lives out in the middle of the woods. But the moon landing, or I think it's the first sort of orbiting. Like space, a space expedition. And he's like, what is that? I mean, he's like, we're in outer the thing that I've been staring at for all my life. Like we're up there, So it is about how, time is kind of marching around this fellow, or he's kind of like a pebble in a stream and time's just like flowing by. But it's also about grief and how we persevere through it. And it marks us and affects us. And all that makes it sound heavy, and it is heavy, but it's not one of those movies that you feel beat up when you're done. Okay. That I think I appreciate that about it. You didn't feel like, ugh. Yeah. I felt kind of sad, I suppose. And it's one that you think about and that's moving, but you don't feel like you've been through the ringer and have trauma from watching it.
That's right. Yes.
So it's a beautiful movie, Train Dreams. I really recommend it. And in that note, we're going to start a new feature today. Talking about movies has been kind of a thing.
Yeah,
I'm a movie guy. Yeah. We've done that. Ross and I did that for a long time, making fun of Christian movies. I thought, let's do a regular feature, or, an occasional feature, where we talk about a movie that has some kind of spiritual import, maybe good, maybe a Christian movie sort of that we would recommend. And so we're going to call it FTC Film Club.
Hey.
You and I are the first members of the FTC Film Club. Maybe we'll make little membership cards.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And then today's movie, I thought, I'd never seen it, but you said it's your favorite movie.
Yeah.
And I thought that should be the first movie. So I watched it a couple weeks ago. It's called A Hidden Life. And it's from director Terrence Malick, who I have seen his movies before, but I'd never seen A Hidden Life. Tell us about A Hidden Life.
Yeah, well, first of all, this is fun. Okay. It's a little self-indulgent for us, but it's fun. Jared and I, at one point, our offices, well, I guess they are again. Our offices are really close again. Yeah. But in another stage of life, our offices were really close together
on the other side of the campus.
In the communications office at Midwestern, and we found ourselves having these little hallway chats about movies. And Jared became one of my favorite people to talk about movies with. And so it's kind of maybe a self-indulgent. Maybe not everyone will care about these episodes, but there's a few film nerds who will like them. So Terrence Malick's A Hidden Life has become my favorite movie. And it's funny because it didn't start that way. I watched it in theater the first time I saw the film and thought, that was good. I didn't feel about it the way I felt about Tree of Life right away.
Okay.
Whereas
that's another movie from
That's
Terrence
right, yeah.
Malick.
Tree of Life is probably what he's most known for, where I thought that movie was unlike every movie I've ever seen and is unique in its ability to communicate some profound themes.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel that way about A Hidden Life immediately. And then it's weird because I'm not a movie rewatcher. I know a lot of people really are. I'm not.
I rewatch
because it's hard to explain, but I don't watch movies or film for like escapism. I watch them for like, honestly, the way that I think of it is like administering reality. The same reason I read fiction. I don't read fiction for escapism
it's
either.
like reading a novel.
That's right. So normally the kinds of movies I tend towards are sad or more heavy. And so not typically the kind you're like, I'm dying to rewatch this, you know.
Yeah.
But what happens with a Hidden Life is I liked it so much when people would tell me, oh, I haven't seen it. It's like, well, next Tuesday night, you're coming to my house and we're doing a showing. And so I've done that now, 6 or 7 times. And every time I do it, I'm like, no, this movie is not good. This movie is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And it keeps ranking up, and it just surpassed Dunkirk for me on my favorite movie of all time.
Okay.
So the last showing, some friends in Ohio and we pulled it together, and I should have known it was coming because these are men who appreciate like really strong depth. But we watched it, and it became my favorite movie. And honestly, there are points of the movie of silence, and it was what pushed it over to my favorite. So we should talk about this with The Hidden Life. The movie got some critique for being self-indulgent. It's filmed in the Swiss Alps. Terrence Malick is doing something with beauty. It's been called a cathedral for the senses.
Yeah.
Where you really are looking at beauty a lot.
I mean, and in the score, there's scenes that's like it's heavy organ music while you're inside a chapel or looking at the mountains and things.
That's exactly right. But I really
waterfalls.
think those moments of silence are really big because overall, the movie is this: a man named Franz, a Catholic farmer
in Austria,
in Austria,
farmer,
has decided in good conscience he cannot swear allegiance to Hitler.
Right.
He can't swear allegiance to the Third Reich. He can't swear allegiance to Hitler, and he is a slow roll of the consequences of his decisions are coming to him.
Yeah.
And basically it's him and his wife in the Swiss Alps in their little farmland trying to decide, is my decision, my conviction to not swear allegiance to Hitler, is it worth the consequences that are about to come to our family? And it's more heavy than just, am I willing to suffer? But it's more, am I willing to let you suffer?
Right.
Because I'm probably going to be executed. My kids aren't going to have a father, and you're not going to have a husband. And so, there's scenes where his wife is doing the farm work. And
long scenes when he is in prison where she's doing all the work. She and her sister. Her sister comes. But it's even deeper than that because they're ostracized by the town.
That's right.
Their kids, like other kids won't play with their kids.
Yes.
And people are in some ways threatening them or just, treating them poorly. And, the wheel of her wagon falls off while she's in town. And it's only this other widow, this old lady who will, sympathize and come and help her. And so it's just the social alienation also on top of, waiting for this moment of decision, this trial. And all along, he's given opportunities for like an off-ramp.
Yeah, to recant.
Yeah, like, hey, man, like we can undo all of this. He has a lawyer that was like, I can handle this if you'll just sign the paper.
Yeah.
Like, and this is after he's tasted prison, after he's been away from his family, after he knows, I guess he can assume that, the difficulty. He undergoes like levels of psychological torture. It's not just that he's in a jail cell, but the way that they treat him. I mean, and this is a true story, by the way.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's a true story.
It's just story. So this is, it's a true story. All along, he's given multiple opportunities. Even at the moment of when the verdict is read, the lawyer's like, we can undo all of that. Like, they just sentenced you to death. So now this is how it's going to end. They're going to kill you.
Yes.
We can still handle this if you just sign the paper.
Yes, that's right.
That to me was like the most challenging part of it, because you would think, like when they threw John Bunyan into jail for preaching without a license, And it was a few years, like he was given a long sentence, but it was a few years in. They're like, hey, if you just agree, like we'll let you out. Thinking after he's tasted prison that he'd be like, I got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And of course, and like Bunyan, this fellow's name is Franz Jagerstatter. He was like, no.
That's right.
And he doesn't do it easily though.
No,
he is a tortured soul about this whole thing.
Yes,
and he does have moments of doubt, and he wonders if his conviction, because there is a point where someone tries to say like, you don't have to mean it.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what
right.
I mean? Like you can
just
hold
lie.
your conviction, just lie.
Yeah.
Just say that you're swearing loyalty, and it reminded me in a lot of ways of Silence. Did you see the movie Silence? The Scorsese film, where there's a very similar thing, and it's not even just like you'll save your own life if you'll step on these these icons or these images or repudiate the Christian iconography. You're saving that hut full of Christians over there. We're going to burn that thing to the ground with women and children inside of it if you don't despise this. And the priests or the missionaries could easily say like, well, to save their life, I can pretend.
Yeah,
I don't have to actually mean it.
Yep.
But just the act itself,
that's right.
The duplicity of it becomes this whole sort of
and it's why their like decision making as a family before he goes to prison. There's like a scene where they have just tended the land, and they're laying in the grass, just looking at each other, and they're communicating so much between this husband and a wife of like, are you sure?
Yeah.
And they're looking at each other, and it's like this moment of silence with this heavy organ in the background. In fact, it's become one of my favorite scores to listen to when I'm writing. But they're looking at each other, and there's this moment of like beauty versus ugliness, good versus evil, the slow life versus the fast life, and almost like gave me the same feeling I get when I read like That Hideous Strength by C.S. Lewis of like, the resistance of Merlin and those guys versus the NICE. It kind of feels like that with A Hidden Life with Franz, how slow the mountain scenes are, the music. It's like he is choosing beauty and slowness and conviction to the good and the true and the beautiful over lying and short-sighting his own convictions and signing the paper. But these moments where him and his wife are looking at each other are just penetrating, because at any given moment she could say, do it for us.
Yeah.
But she never asks that of him. And those moments of penetration are just like, those moments of like where they're looking at each other they like hurt my soul, in the best way. Yeah.
Well, called self-indulgent. So we should say Terrence Malick, his movies tend to be like this. Yeah. I remember seeing, this was, I guess early 2000s. I forgot to look it up, but he did an adaptation of the World War II movie, book, The Thin Red Line.
Yeah.
And I went to see The Thin Red Line in the theater, and that was the first Malick film that I'd ever seen. And I was going expecting, okay, I knew he was a virtuoso director and kind of an artsy guy, but it's a war movie, and there is war scenes. But I'm like, there's like a 20-minute sequence of this guy walking along the stream and staring at a butterfly, and he just would follow these things, and this is what he's kind of become known for, are not just long movies, but movies that almost feel embedded in nature and kind of follow the rabbit trails, sometimes literally, I suppose. There's a rabbit he's actually following. I don't know. And I've not seen Tree of Life, but our colleague Matthew Millsap teaches, or like he shows the Tree of Life in his Christianity in the Arts class. He says it's very polarizing.
It's a remarkably polarizing
few students who just absolutely love it, and he has students who just absolutely hate it, think it's the worst movie they've ever seen. And there's no one in between.
Yes, that's right.
And it's because it is so sort of non-linear, and it's also long. One thing I will say about A Hidden Life, because it is long. It's 2 hours and 40-something minutes long. It's almost 3 hours long. The scenes are short.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed this as I was watching it. It's cut in such a way that it doesn't feel 2 hours and 40-something minutes.
Come on,
I mean, you know that it is, but there's no scene he doesn't. I think he restrains himself on some of the indulgence.
Man, I'm glad to hear you say that.
You do get the shots of the waterfalls and the farming sequences, and there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Or the wheat in the sky,
That's right.
the wind.
Kids playing.
All that you do get all that, but every scene is not so long. It's cut in such a way that it feels like it's moving.
That's right.
And I thought that
what
was
he's
really
doing with
good.
the juxtaposition of the farm life and the prison life
Yes.
is meaningful.
Yes.
It's not just indulgent.
My favorite moment is there's a scene where Franz is in prison. I think it's his lawyer, maybe someone else, who's basically holding out this. You can be free if you'll recant, and he says, "I am free."
Yeah. Oh.
And that was just like the dagger in my heart. I am free. So there's a message there. There's a takeaway there of even in the midst of persecution, even in the midst of pain, suffering, when you are sold out to what, not just, let's not be, blanket here, what you believe in.
Yeah.
When you're sold out to Christ.
Yes.
When you're sold out to his kingdom, when you know there's a new heavens and a new earth coming, whatever they're doing to you. And like, if you just look at all of this, all this can be yours.
That's
if
exactly
you just
right.
bow down,
Yes.
you can be free. No, like I'm already free. I'm already free. We'll end with this. What does the title mean? I have a quote from George Eliot.
Yeah.
But could you set it
So
up?
the movie,
I'll
the
read
movie.
quote, what does a hidden life mean?
It's this, 2.5 hours of this agonizing, like, is he going to do it? We've kind of spoiled that he doesn't.
Yeah.
He goes through with the consequences. And one of this like brutal parts of the scene in prison, he has someone come to him and they say, what is this all going to mean? Like, what is this going to change? Do you think you're going to change?
No one's ever going to hear of you.
Yeah, no one's ever going to hear of you. Do you think
Right.
you're going to change the course of history
Right.
by protesting? And in his mind, that's not what matters.
That's not
right?
even what I'm
that's
trying to
not
do.
the point.
Yeah.
But
I'm
that's
not a revolutionary.
No, that's right. Yeah. He's an obedient follower, not a revolutionary. But that's like a big feel you have is like, what is this going to change? Mm-hmm. And then the credits roll, or the movie ends, and this quote comes up from George Eliot's Middlemarch. And I think you have the quote.
Yeah.
This is where the title comes from.
Yeah. For the growing good of the world is partly dependent on unhistoric acts.
What a line.
And that things are not so ill with you and me as they might have been is half owing to the number who lived faithfully a hidden life and rest in unvisited tombs.
It's amazing.
We are the beneficiaries of simple, ordinary faithfulness.
That's right.
From people whose names that we don't know. And Franz Jagerstadter's name may not have been known.
Yes.
I don't know if you knew this, but in looking up the backstory, the reason we even know his story is because there was an American sociologist named Gordon Zahn who in the 60s visited this Austrian village. For what reason, I'm not sure. Maybe doing research, for the World War II research or something. But learned this story because the daughters are surviving.
Wow.
And in fact, I read
this.
another little anecdote where the filmmakers, I don't know if Malick personally, but they showed a hidden life to the daughters who are survived. They're still alive or were alive when this movie came out. And of course, they were very moved by it. And some of the attention to historical detail, like the house that was rebuilt, was built exactly like their house was. And I don't know if they relied on the daughters or others. But this fellow, Gordon Zahn, went to this Austrian village, learned the story, and told the story in a book. It might have been hidden.
Yes.
If he had not have done that, we might not have known the story of Franz Jagerstatter. If and his wife Fanny, and if Gordon Zahn had not shown up in that village to do that. But it just speaks to the legacy that you leave, even if your name is not remembered.
Yes.
The great cloud of witnesses, perhaps.
Yeah.
The
overwhelming
they're not
feeling.
all named.
The overwhelming.
The Lord knows their name.
That's exactly right,
Yeah.
and that's what matters.
Yeah.
But the overwhelming feeling I left the movie with is obedience to Christ is worth it. It's just worth it.
Yeah. Great note to end on.
Yeah.
First episode of the FTC
Come on.
Film Club.
That's right.
If you've got recommendations, listeners, maybe you could send those to us, and we'll consider those for our next entry. If you enjoy the podcast, please give us a good review. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen to or watch your favorite podcast. And until next time, may Jesus be big in your church.